Hello, my name is Sabrina Angeluso, the Director of Operations for Florida Family Resource Center. Roughly 2 years ago, my life was turned upside down by the Department of Children and Families. If given just a few moments, I'm sure I can open your eyes and most definitely your heart into how unorganized and unmandated the actions and investigations by the Department of Children and Families, as well as their authorized representatives, continuously rip apart unexpecting families, whom of which, if given the help they so desperately needed, and most times asked for, their children would have never been placed into state care, sometimes causing the children detrimental emotional damage and leaving the parents jumping through hoops to piece their family back together. These are my children: Delaney, now 2, Bella, 4, Hayden, 7, and Logan, 8. After an ex of mine filed nearly 20 DCF reports alleging various acts of so-called abuse and or neglect with no actions ever have been taken before, I suppose the department had enough of the reports, stepped in, and that's when they took my children. The worker for DCF herself stated this was the last thing she ever seen happening. Logan, at the time 6, was placed with his father, whom had filed the allegations. Delaney, still an infant, and Hayden, 4, were placed in a state home in Hernando County. Bella was only 2 at the time and was placed in a state home in Lake County by herself, where she completely shut down. I was advised by my attorney at the time that if I agreed to the terms DCF was requesting, instead of fighting them in court, that the children would be home sooner and we would be reunified much quicker. So I agreed. I submitted to 2 random drug screens twice a month, all of which came back negative. I underwent a substance abuse evaluation, to which the evaluator herself asked me why I was even there, and submitted a report stating there was no substance abuse nor addiction. I also had a family team coach visit my home once a week that continuously stated my parenting skills were perfectly fine. Even after completing everything the state advised me I had to complete, of which I received no help or direction from the Department of Children and Families, nor its contracted workers, it still took me roughly 6 months of bombarding and flooding the caseworker's email, her supervisor's email, more supervisors' emails, and the attorney for the Department of Children and Families email to get them to finally not only hear my voice, but to listen and understand what I was saying. Only then did they pull my file and allow me reunification with my children. I lived inside of a torture chamber for nearly 2 years, caused by the lack of effort and true concern from the Department of Children and Families and contracted workers. So many families are put through this and so much more. Mothers, fathers, grandparents, aunts, and uncles seem to not have a so-called voice once forced into this tangled web of a system. If most families were offered the help and given the opportunity of securing resources that the department and workers are contracted and paid to provide families, this situation and many others could have been prevented. Florida Family Resource Center was founded by Lawrence P. Cartelli, whom of which was blatantly tired of seeing families ripped apart and tortured mentally and emotionally. He founded FFRC so that we can pick up the slack of the Department of Children and Families and help families with the resources and basic needs at little or no cost to them at all. We strive to keep families and children out of state homes and with their families by providing a gateway to the counseling they may need. Help with finding jobs, building resumes, access to food pantries, access to free work clothes, children items, right down to anything and everything it takes to keep children where they belong, and most of all, where they are deeply loved.